Part of the problem, or the difficulty, the challenge, is to be able to recognize and accommodate for the uniqueness of humans and yet the continuity of humans with the rest of the world. Humans are animals, we're part of nature, we're continuous with the rest of the world in the sense that we are born, we live, we eat, we will die. We are continuous with the rest of the world in the sense that we're made of material, we're organic process that can be largely described by accounts of chemistry and physiology. Certainly, there are differences, though. There are critical differences when we start to ask questions of, are humans distinct? Does nature itself have so much variety, so much difference, that it actually allowed for a little difference to make the radical difference that made all the difference? That is, could a difference of degree become a difference of kind? I think it has. I think evolution itself has radically transformed the human. The human sense of space, the human sense of time, and the human sense of relevance seem so different than for the other creatures. Now, it's not an honorific designation. I'm not suggesting that humans are more intelligent than other creatures. It's not as if humans are smarter or it's necessarily even to human benefit. It may be a fall, it may be a loss of innocence, it may be a suffering of burdens from awareness of death and the struggle to make one's life relevant to a larger whole, the struggle to know how things are relevant to us, the struggle with relevance. I'm not sure that other animals have a problem with relevance. It's as if humans are the most plastic of animals. We're the most plastic, we're the most malleable, the most changeable, the most subject to our own tampering. We can affect ourselves in a socio-cultural, historical way that other creatures seem very limited to. Now, admittedly, domesticated animals, and dogs in particular, they seem fairly not only shapeable, but they've been bred. I mean, they've been very carefully selected through breeding for certain characteristics, and then those have been subject to ontogenetic conditioning from the environment and interactions with people. But just to give a couple of examples, there's a great book by John Blubtrube called Parable of the Beast, and in there he has an example of a wood tick, and this wood tick, it climbs out on a branch, and the wood tick just perches there, and it's waiting for the butyric acid to be, mammals give off butyric acid, right? And it is waiting to get released. It's sort of like a tropism there from that. And if no mammal comes underneath where that tick has perched itself, it will just sit there indefinitely. The sun rises, sun sets, seasons come and go, and there the wood tick sits. And Blubtrube's question is, does it experience the change of season? Does it experience the passage of time? What is it doing there? There are other cases. Try to think of the case of the vespula, or the digger wasp. You can take the little digger wasp and you go to its hive, and it carries the food, and as it sets the food right by the hive, it will go in and do a kind of ritual preparation that prepares, it drops the food off right by the hive, then goes and does this ritual preparation, and then it goes back out and it takes the food. If you take a little steel probe and you bump the food back a couple of inches in between and break up that ritual, that wasp will come out, it will look surprised, it will grab the food, it'll move it over a little bit right by the hive, and then it'll go into that ritual. And if you keep doing that, it will do it indefinitely. It never says to itself, hey, I just went through and did the ritual, I'm going to carry it in straight through this time. It's as if the organisms themselves are installed with a kind of pre-given relevancy, and they can't break out of that. Humans suffer the struggle, right? We suffer the struggle of making meaning. I don't know if other animals have problems of fallenness. Like, can a dog de-dog itself in a way that a human can dehumanize itself? I guess one last way to get at this is I've heard some particularly religious folks do their Bible thumping saying that God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And there was some sort of what the person took to be a witty comment, and they were suggesting, I think, in some way that homosexuality was not natural. I don't think there's sufficient evidence for that. I think the person probably hasn't done their homework. There is an interesting book, I believe, this is by Joan Roughgarden, called Evolution's Rainbow, on biodiversity and the kind of sexual diversity that we find throughout the animal kingdom. If there is something odd, I think if you want to ask the questions, are humans really unique and different? What are practices of abstinence and celibacy? That's interesting. How is it that humans aren't specifiable to any geographical location? Why are humans able to live anywhere? Why are humans not restricted in the particular kind of diet that they have? Why is there so much diversity among the human species in dietary practices? It's as if we're plastic and open, and the relevancy structure of humanity is somehow open so that we can make things around us relevant in ways that other animals can't. When we talk about tool making really just has to do with the plasticity by which aspects of the environment can be made relevant. Humans are open in their relevance. Other creatures just seem installed with pre-given relevancy. Okay.